As a Hello Neighbor fan game developer, I've spent a lot of time watching the announcement trailer, either to make things more accurate or to search for things I could add. And even now, there's still little details I've been picking up on. So I decided to write them down and share them all with you. Keep in mind that most of these are completely pointless and your life would not change in any meaningful way if you clicked off right now. But if you're willing to stay, here's every little detail you might have missed in the 2015 Hello Neighbor announcement trailer. Plus the teaser trailer too, cause why not? The neighbor is T-posing in the first frame. The door behind the neighbor is weird and seems to be clipping inside the wall. The neighbor is not holding the hammer correctly. These animations are left in the game files, albeit edited quite a bit. For instance, the hammer drop animation is missing the first part where he looks around, and the bulb break animation is missing the part where he stands up. There's a telephone pole that's sunk under the ground. Clearly this is a coma because you can see the end of the world. The windows upstairs actually have curtains in them, mimicking a fake upstairs. You can see random trash lining the street. Telephone poles and wires actually cast a shadow, which took me surprisingly long to actually notice. You can see when the window border material fully loads. I am 99% sure that the neighbor is playing his unused cook animation in front of the microwave. All double doors have a gap in the middle, not just the front door. There is no player house or neighbor car. All the fences have posts separating them. These smaller ones are called columns, and these bigger ones are called corners. There are 2 corners on either side of the path. The pre-alpha only has one, and it uses the column instead of the corner. Leaves falling from nowhere, pretty normal. The same sound that can be heard when opening the latch can be heard when the neighbor opens the front door. The neighbor swears here for the first time ever. The neighbor should have definitely seen the player here. Random whispering, which I used to think was coming from the TV, but now I believe to come from the basement, it sounds like. As the player enters the house, the outside ambience slowly fades until the player gets far enough away from the door. Keep this in mind. Weirdly scaled pictures. The outside ambience comes back at full volume, despite the player being further away from the door than before. Door borders are scaled to be thinner. The hammer here is actually the skeletal mesh, which is the mesh map to the animation that plays at the very end of the trailer. I can tell it's the skeletal mesh because the skeletal mesh is actually bigger than the static mesh for the hammer. A low rumble can be heard as the neighbor gets closer to the player. Doors do not fit the doorways. Again, more weirdly scaled pictures. The shadow looks like a penis. At 1 minute 17 seconds, the inside scare ambience starts playing for the first time. Previously, the ambience could have been nothing or inside calm, which is so quiet that it's basically nothing. Floating book. You can see they made the border the same thickness as the door, so the border doesn't properly fit the walls. You can briefly see how Unreal Engine culling works. The neighbors should have seen the player here. It sounds like the creaking sound follows the neighbor here. The wardrobe doesn't make an open sound. These apples also appear to be bigger than normal. Old chasing animation. The neighbor moves like really weirdly here. More issues with the doors not fitting. A flower can briefly be seen sticking through the wall. Sorry for pointing out such a massive flaw. I hope I didn't ruin the trailer for you. The player should have definitely been caught by now. No. It's not like you're being chased or nothing, man. Just take your time to open that latch. Yeah. Here again, you can see how thin the door borders are. And the latch has another loop on the other side that is used to hold the latch when it's open, which is not present in the leftover latch model that we have in the game files. The neighbor's feet clip through the ground. This animation actually is fully left over in the game files. I'm not sure why this is the only one that's unchanged, but cool, I guess. The back door somehow closed itself, presumably since if it was open it would have blocked the player's path. Weird shading issues on the stairs. Edge of the world again, plus these houses being here makes no sense. Tallbox. This trailer apparently loves having things scaled for no reason. Tallbox also has a massive shading problem. You can actually see the player uncrouch briefly. No explanation is given as to how these hallways were blocked. I know it's done for the purposes of the trailer, but damn, the neighbor moves quick. Drawer clipping through the open wardrobe door. They probably placed this furniture here with the wardrobe door closed and just forgot that during the trailer it would be open. Then again, nothing in this barricade follows the laws of physics, so I don't know. TV screen flashing. The inventory briefly shows up, showing the hammer icon and the apple icon, which is used as a placeholder. The door that leads to where the basement used to be can barely be seen, possibly cracked open a bit like the door in the hallway. The sun is leaking. 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 The sun is The sun is leaking! The door lacks a lock holder, although it seems the lock is in the same position it would be if it did have one. The hammer animation clips through the board. And last but not least, this is a coffin model that is only ever seen in this trailer. Plus there's dust particles here too. Alright, since that wasn't enough useless information for one day, let's briefly go over the teaser trailer. There's actually an early version of this trailer called Trailer Test that was uploaded by Nikita back in 2017. It follows a similar narrative, except it was made in Blender with the DevGam style. There are different tree models here that are not seen in-game. Graveyard in the background, also not seen in-game until Alpha 2, but had a lot of emphasis put on it in early screenshots. The music playing is called Faust Levadour. Levadour. French isn't my specialty. Second graveyard, end of the map. If you pay attention to how this car drives, it looks more like drifting than driving. The player passes the pole that will later fall on his car. You can see the pole is already sparking and is not lined up with the other poles at all. The car teleports back since it's right next to the graveyard it passed previously. Second unused tree model. Second graveyard can be seen again. This is actually the location where this screenshot was taken. This map is actually used quite a bit for early screenshots, mainly these ones. If you look closely enough, you can actually see the pre-alpha player in the car. You can see a small explosion right before the pole falls. Although this explosion doesn't come from the same position as the sparks. You can also see the smoke from it, and yeah, it's nowhere even near the pole. As I mentioned earlier, the pole is sparking even before the explosion. It's actually a good thing this pole fell and blocked the path, because the road and the world both seem to end right here. A log can be seen laying on the ground. This door features a lock holder that can be found in the game files, but never appeared in-game, nor in the announcement trailer. The neighbor is hammering the nail into the door itself. Hey, it's just like this concept art. Pretty neat continuity there, Dynamic Pixels. Door is actually clipping through this board. The drawer and the lamp normally seen by the basement door in the prototype house are missing. Nails didn't exist until Alpha 1. Both the prototype, which this was made around the same time as, and the pre-alpha lacked them. As a side note, I hope one day they show us this entire map or release it or something, because despite being nothing but roads and trees and grass, I really like the vibe of it. If you noticed anything I missed, please feel free to point it out. I know there's going to be one guy in the comments saying, I knew all of this already. Well, good for you, I guess. Just because you knew it all doesn't mean that everyone else will. Still though, that doesn't mean that you needed to know any of this. But hey, if anyone happens to say that, just reply with a timestamp to this part of the video. That's all for now, and stay tuned for new videos coming soon. Bye bye. Also, thanks to my patrons Dana and Sin. Okay, bye for real now.